So, is this shit permanent? I asked as I sat a while P21 worked on the lock. I was absent-mindedly chewing on bloody pieces of shrapnel that I'd plucked from my hide. It's Killing Joke. Who the fuck knows? Rampage responded. Normally, it's found around the Everfree Forest, but you hear rumors about it in other nasty, tainted parts of Equestria. Usually fatal, always inconvenient. She looked out at the rusty drums and trailers covered by the faintly snickering weed. Who knows how? There's so much here. In one fell swoop, we'd lost our medic, our teleportation escape plan, our magic support, and our moral support. All in all, I thought Glory getting turned into Rainbow Dash was pretty weird, a little light, but given what it could have done, I suppose that it was far more preferable to, say, killing her outright? I guess that there wasn't much fun in just killing her outright. The 9th bobby pin snapped in P21's hooves. "Oh, come on!" he shouted, splitting his screwdriver at the ground. "Wait. Did they put the most expensive lock in all of Equestria on this place?" I scowled. "Stand back." He sighed. "If I can't pick it, I don't see how you're going to." "Didn't say I was going to pick it," I said as I gave the door a shooty look, furrowed my brows as I backed away from the entrance. "Oh," he muttered, his eyes getting wide as I charged the double doors. He jumped aside as I slammed into them. A moment later, there was another toasty blast that nearly knocked me back out into the squirming blue vines. I lay there on my back, closing my eyes. Sweet Celestia, was I sore. "Hey, nice job!" Rampage cheered. P21 didn't look quite so enthusiastic, dragging me to safety before the vines had even more fun. "Well, if you ask me, that was cheating." He gathered up his things and then looked back at me. "You coming?" "I need a second. Collect my thoughts." I groaned as I clenched my eyes. Yep, there it was. Lying on top of my jumbled thoughts was the certainty that if there was a nexus for suckitude, it was Hoofington. The front doors were still mostly closed, even with a charred hole where the lock was, creaking open at my push. We had no idea when Glory and Lacuna would return, no idea if Scotch would be okay. The blue stallion clearly looked concerned, glaring back repeatedly. Rampage's power hooves made little click-clacking noises on the tiles as she trotted along beside us. I had such a need for scrap metal to repair myself that I was raiding the garbage cans by the entrance for tin cans to chew on. I even tried gnawing on the lid, but the metal softening spell didn't activate. That left me to slowly regenerate as I walked carefully inside. The detonations were becoming fewer and weaker now. I suppose the joke just wasn't funny anymore. Not since I used it to my advantage. Looking around the 2-story foyer in the building, it was clear something nasty had happened here. There were bloodstains on the walls, but surprisingly little damage. Then again, maybe not so surprisingly, if the inside of this place was as hardened as the outside. In the center of the arched entry was a golden statue covered in cobwebs. 2 unicorn bucks grinned out as they lifted an apple in seeming tribute. Hippocampic Research, read the plaque at the base. A trusted friend in science. I scowled at the pair, then trotted to the statue and rubbed away the grime at the base. It was a tiny stamp, but I could see the OIA symbol at the bottom. I looked away at the dusty walls and scattered papers and junk and imagined that I could smell golden blood in the musty reek of the air. No bodies, and lots of bloodstains. Stay close. No EFS, but I know just that there's something nasty in here. Sanguine's lair was probably somewhere underneath the building. I walked as silently as possible, watching, wishing that we had rags to make Rampage's booties once again. From somewhere, above, behind, there came a snarl that echoed in the halls. "Oh, I hate when I'm right," I murmured as we moved towards the elevator. After mashing the button several times, we finally forced the doors open to reveal a half-dozen bony ponies curled up in the corner. Some pony had scraped "Dear Celestia, let us out" into the wood paneling. The lights flickered to life, and a slurring music began to play. Opportunity. Re-community. The speakers crackled once more and then went silent. The snarl sounded again, along with a dry rattling noise. And was it just me, or did it sound closer? We moved into the offices, with me nervously chewing my bit. Okay. Whoa, I had to be careful with that, or I'd be eating it. While keeping an eye out. Oh, how I missed my pip-buck right now. EC1101 aside, it was an advantage that I could have used. Brings back memories, doesn't it? P21 said softly as he tapped at the keyboards of a desk terminal. I blinked and glanced back at him as Rampage went through the filing cabinets for errant trash and potential valuables. The Fluttershy Clinic. I grunted in response. Why do you have to bring that up now? I frowned. Had I just seen movement down the hall? No, just empty hallway. He tapped away and swallowed. Let's hope this turns out as well as that did. I blinked in shock. Well, I was strapped to a table with my guts hanging out and had to pull the plug on 40 foals. If that was well, I'd hate to imagine lousy. He gave a sheepish little smile as the terminal beeped, but he frowned when he looked back at it. Garbage, garbage, garbage. No mention of anything except Twilight Sparkle visiting a week before the bombs fell. Really? I backed past the desk till I could see the terminal without losing sight of the door. And there was a date, just before the bombs fell. Internal memo, 10/16/11. Twilight Sparkle visit. Thankfully, we got a warning of the Ministry Mayor's surprise inspection. Now I want all of us to be on our tippy-toppest best behavior while she's here. Give her the tour, stretch things out, and hope to Luna that she runs out of time before she gets too nosy. If all else fails, have the show ready. F&F. I tapped a little further down. Apparently, Twilight's inspection had not gone well. The memos were all about being swamped with returned and contaminated products. Internal memo 10/21/11. Storage. For Celestia's sake, we have to do something with all these returns. I don't care if you have to dump it down the drain, do something with it. With all this extra flux before something bad happens. I don't like how giddy things have been. Who the hell is in charge of the OIA now? They need to do something. F&F. And the last. Internal memo 10/23/11. Goodbye. Well, dust off your resumes because you're all fired effective tomorrow. That's right. Let Applejack, or whoever the hell is director now, deal with this mess. My brother and I are off to sunny Porca Porca, where we will keep the beaches warm, the local swine friendly, and the excredation treaties non-existent. So long, suckers. F&F. Funny. I hope they had an early flight. We left the blood-splattered offices and carefully made our way to the first few labs. At least I thought they were labs. After seeing Horizon Labs, I expected to see more in the way of terminals and equipment. In one room were a dozen chalkboards covered with blank X blank, with every critter I could imagine written in the blanks. Most of the combinations were crossed out, but a few were circled like Cake X Tree with Genius written next to it. Okay, I guess that was a type of genius? Carefully, we threaded our way into another lab, with more chalkboards and one large, bare gray tree with a reinforced box. As we passed it, The rainbow apples appeared on the branches and fell against the box's wall. Seeds ricocheted wildly inside. Zapple bombs. Plant these trees around your property. Not only will you be safe from intruders, but you can make your own Zapple jam. Problems: uncontrollable and inconsistent appearances. Explosive jelly. Solution: drop explosive PB&J behind enemy lines. Profit. I shook my head and walked to the door, pushing it open and stepping into the hall. The only warning I had was the shimmer in front of me. My jaw tightened reflexively, guns blasting at the air, and knocking back a creature that seemed like a strange fusion of dog and snake. It started to shimmer back into visibility as I fell back, but I didn't waste any time blasting it again, then again until it finally collapsed into a bloody heap and stopped bleeding. I looked at the rattlesnake tail and 4 legs and once again wished for a time machine so I could smack whoever made such a thing. Of course, I should have been keeping an eye out for more shimmers. The dog-snake thing crashed into me from the side, nearly knocking me off my hooves as it sank its fangs through my leather armor and into the meat of my withers with a shriek. I really did not get how any opponent was supposed to fight in a battle saddle, as I thrashed to shove the shimmery abomination back. Rampage leaped atop it with an electric crackle, the power hooves discharging and scorching the shimmery scales. She bit into its ear and anchored herself as her hoof smashed against its skull again and again. Finally, it let me go, and I kicked it away enough and I turned to blast it with shotgun rounds. "Ouch! Don't shoot fillies!" Rampage protested as it went down from the buckshot. "You're an immortal death filly! Don't tell me you can't take a little lead!" I laughed. Once more, I should have been keeping an eye out for shimmers. The pair of us were slammed not by one, but a whole pack of the hissing, snapping creatures. I went down, thrashing as I rolled onto my back, and kicked my metal legs as hard as I could and as wildly as I could. Most of them tried to bite my legs to little effect. Then one got clever and chomped down hard on my belly. I might not have been strictly biological anymore, but I did not want my guts, such as they were, ripped out and strewn all over the place. I heard Rampage scream and smelled blood. From the office behind me came a firm thump. Did I mention that I was really tired of getting blown up today? The grenade shrapnel tore into the abominations swarming us, and the group milled back in pain and confusion. P-21 poked his head into the hall and fired a second grenade right into the mass of the shimmery dog-snake things. The blast sent body parts flying, and those creatures, still able to run, did so. I hugged the jagged wound in my gut as I sat up, looking around and making sure there weren't even more shimmers. "Rampage?" I asked as I looked at where the filly had been. She sat up and then pointed to the mangled hole in her throat. "Thank goodness for regeneration. Huh?" I said with a wince. Then, when her throat closed, she croaked, "Still fucking hurts!" We stood, Rampage helping herself to a high-protein diet. I held myself to a high-iron diet of office scrap and a few gemstones, and P-21 kept an eye on the hall and pointedly ignored both of us, just in case he popped a grenade in the direction the abominations had fled. "Think Sanguine knows we're here?" Rampage asked with a frown once we started moving again. It'd been half an hour, and no sign of any pony.